Flex. With me is Gary Boes. He's chief engineer on the all-new Ford Flex, and thanks so much for being with us.
Oh, thank you for having me, Jack.
We have talked a bit about the design of this vehicle and a very, very pure design. How does that translate into the engineering of the vehicle?
Well, we really wanted to make sure from an engineering perspective we could deliver that personality that started with the design, very unique. So we started really on a lot of work of stowage and space in the interior, trying to give it the space it needed. So we stretched the wheelbase from the platform we started with, which is the Taurus and Taurus X, about 5 inches. But we only lengthened the car by a little less than 2 inches because we didn't want it to get too large, so we shortened the overhangs. All that space was really added to the second row.
Yeah, and the second row really more like first-class seating than in a lot of vehicles. I mean, that's something that really jumps out at you immediately upon getting in. Tell us about that.
Exactly. I mean, we really wanted it to be sort of that business class experience. I mean, we joke as a team, it's like you used to call shotgun to ride in the passenger seat. Now you want to ride in the second row. I mean, I'm 6'4", and I fit in it very comfortably. It's relaxed. We added conveniences like a 110-volt power source back there, heated second row seats, a refrigerator in the console between the two, a real compressor-driven refrigerator to really make it convenient. And even as far as putting an individual piece of glass above each of the occupants, so you had your individual space in the back.
You know, this really seems like a special program at Ford. I've done a lot of these for a lot of years, and it seems like there's a special enthusiasm on this. How did that, again, translate into what your team was doing?
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, the car has a personality. I think the team has had a personality, and we really, coalesced around what we wanted to deliver and really said, hey, we want to deliver something unique. We want to deliver something the customer can talk about with their friends and are proud to own and drive.
What do you think of the major differentiators? The things that set you apart, set the Flex apart from others in this space? There are a lot of crossovers now. What are some of the hard ones on that?
Well, the first one would be the exterior design. I mean, clearly it looks unique. I think the interior space as well with the second row we talked about. And really wanted to make sure we didn't have any reasons not to purchase. So we have Class 3 trailer towing, all the features that you could possibly want in the car.
Was this looked at as a replacement for something or just an add-on to the Ford line?
No, it's really an add-on. And we're going after a bit of white space, right? An alternative for people who may have been considering an SUV or a minivan or whatever it might be. Really people who want a car with a bit of personality. One
of the things to like about it is the step-in height. Talk about that a little bit. Just getting in and out is a lot simpler than most of these.
Yeah, we worked really hard on accessibility. And what we did with that is something we call our hidden rocker. So what we did is we took the rocker, the part that you would bump into with your leg, and actually took it away with the door. And so you can step further into the vehicle. So we have a really easy step-over height. So you can sit down, swing your legs in. It also helps in parking lot situations, right? So you don't have to open the door quite as far. You can slide through and climb into the vehicle.
Does that have ramifications in structure? I imagine it does. I think the rocker bears a lot of burden, doesn't it, in terms of support?
It does, but as long as you start right from the beginning architecturally on what you want to deliver, which is what we did. When we stretched the wheelbase, we knew we wanted to improve the ingress-egress, and so we put the structure into it so it meets all the standards that it needs to.
I've got the chief engineer here, and we haven't talked about drivetrain yet, but let's talk about that. Kind of the heart of the vehicle in a lot of ways.
Okay, yeah, we started with our 3.5-liter V6 engine, which people are familiar with, award-winning powertrain from the Taurus, Taurus X, Edge, MKX. It has a 6-speed automatic transmission behind it. It delivers about 262 horsepower. And fuel economy we're very proud of because we're at or better than all of the 6 and 7 passenger competition. So we're at 17 in the city, 24 on the highway for the front wheel drive, 1622 for the all wheel drive. So we went with the powertrain that we knew, worked a lot on calibration. We added some unique calibration things that we call like aggressive decel fuel shutoff, where we actually shut down the fuel injectors at points in time when you're not into the throttle so we can actually conserve fuel. Worked on aerodynamics a lot. I mean, it looks like a box, but it actually has very good aerodynamics. It's about 0.355 coefficient of drag.
Yeah, that is outstanding.
So we really worked on underbody flow to really deliver the best we could.
What goes into how you decide, well, these third row seats are going to be this big, and then we need X amount of space behind that? How do you figure that out?
What we tried to do is provide some alternatives. So we have a fold-in-the-floor third row seat, so it tilts and tumbles backwards. So when the seat is up, you have a very large tub into the floor. And yet if you need a flat load floor for a larger object, you can actually fold that floor flat. And then actually the second row and the passenger seat that you're sitting in, the front row passenger folds flat as well. So we can get an object as long as 119 inches into the car on a flat load floor, so a ladder, things like that.
Right. If I'm a pole vaulter, I've got a fairly decent shot. Let's talk about big sunroofs. That was something that several of the journalists were talking about on the ride over here. What's your take on sunroofs, moonroofs, and those kinds of things?
Well, it gives the vehicle a very open air sort of feeling, a skylight diner, we like to call it. And what we worked on, research early on for this vehicle said, people who sit in the back want their individual space, and they want to be treated like a front row occupant. And so because of that, we put glass above the second and the third row. So it's no longer an inconvenience to be in the second row.
Mm-hmm. What are some of the things you're proudest of about the engineering of this vehicle?
I think we delivered on the concept car look, first of all. We delivered an interior that rewards that experience, and then probably best of all is the driving experience.
Okay, let's talk quickly before we sign off here about safety.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we started with the Taurus X platform again, which is a quad 5-star IIHS best picks. We started with a very good platform. We knew how to manage the loads through it. We added to it standard side curtain airbags for all 3 rows of occupants, standard thorax airbags, and then from an active safety standpoint, we have roll stability control, traction control, all standard on the car. So we believe we really built on the foundation of a very safe platform.
Well, this is certainly a vehicle you need to take a look at, the Ford Flex. Gary Boes, Chief Engineer on this project. Congratulations, number one, and thanks so much for being with us. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Jack. Happy to be here.